We're going to do the standard deviation or the sample standard deviation using the Casio FX-300ES Plus. Okay, and so the first thing I want to do is I want to enter the data into the calculator. To do that, you press Mode, and then number 2, and then one variable stats, number 1, gives you a table. You can enter the values 1 equals 2 equals 3 equals 4 equals 5 equals. I have 5 data points now. Now, let's find a few values that are going to be useful and also will help us in our conversation here. Let's press the AC button. We'll press Shift, number 1, and it gives you all these things. If you type number 1, it goes back to what type of calculation you want. We want 1. We don't need to do that again, but just showing you. Shift, number 1. That's one thing that happens. You're like, wait, where is everything? What happened is you need to press AC to get out of it, then Shift 1. There we go. Then 2, it gives you this list again. Press the AC button, Shift 1. Number 3 is the sums. We do want the sums. We're going to press number 2. We want the sum of x, so we can find this sum here, right? We pressed it, and then we press equals, and so the sum of x equals 15. Okay, so we'll keep that there. You can press AC if you like. You don't have to. Shift 1 again. If you press 3, we don't need anything else. Let's see if we press Shift 1 again. It doesn't take it. Shift 1. There we go. Number 4 for variance. This is going to be important. If you press number 1, and which is n, and you press equals, it says n is equal to 5, which is this n here, which is also 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 variables, 5 data points in your variables. Okay. Then Shift 1, and go number 4 again for the variance menu. Number 2 gives you the mean, so we're going to need that. Number 2 equals, you got to press equals, x bar equals 3. The mean, that's this mean right here, and we can calculate that by x bar equals the sum of x over n, right? We already have the sum of n, it's 15, and we do know what n is, it gave it to us. 5 goes into 15 3 times. So the calculation comes out correct, okay? Let's keep going. Shift 1, we click on number 4, and here's Sx, right? We can put an x for one variable. Sx equals, right? We're going to press number 4, then we press equals 1.581138. That's the answer. This is the sample standard deviation, but there's more to it, of course, if you're going to do this by hand. And how is your calculator going to help out? Okay, let's press Shift 1. Let's go to number 4, and we can also find number 3, which is the population standard deviation, which is not this video, but if you need it, it's right here, 1.4142. And to get this answer, we would use capital N instead of n take away 1. Capital N means the total number of data points that you have. Because it's a population standard deviation. Okay, let's press AC to clear everything. We got the answer, Sx equals 1.5811. This value is what we're going to calculate with this formula. Now, using tables, it's going to be much easier to do this calculation. So here, on this column, we're going to take each data point, and we're going to subtract it from the mean. And so if you go 1, take away 3, that gives you -2. Yes, you can do it by hand as well, or in your mind. Now we're going to square that, right? We're going to square it, and then equals, and that gives you 4. -2 times -2 gives you 4. 2, which is this 2, take away 3, which is the mean, right? Take each data value and subtract it from the mean. And that's going to give you what? 2 take away 3 equals -1. And you square it equals, that's a 1. 3 take away 3 is 0, right? 3 take away 3 is going to give you 0. You square it equals, and it gives you an answer of 0. If you like this content, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe. Please tell your friends. Please tell your teacher. And there's more videos here about the subject of math. 4 take away 3. 4, which is the data point. Take away, which is the what you need to do. And then x bar, which is the mean. So 4 take away 3 equals 1. And then you square it equals 1. 1 times 1 is 1. So far, this is easy. I don't need to use a calculator. You're right. Maybe not for these. But what I'll tell you is that it can get more complicated when it has decimals, you know, after these numbers here. We'll talk about that after this one. 5 take away 3 equals 5 take away 3 equals 2. Then we square it, gives you 4. Let's say, okay, let's say in this column, one of these, the answers was 2.343, right? And then we have to square it, right? 2.343, and then you have to square it, right? It gives you 5.489649. You see, you're starting to get a lot more numbers, and it could get really, really messy here. Question is, how many numbers do you save after the decimal place? Some teachers will say 3 or more. Some teachers might even say hold all the numbers. It depends on your teacher. Some teacher might just say just keep the first 2 after the decimal place. In chemistry, it might be even worse because you have to deal with significant digits. That's a whole different story. Okay, so when we find the sum here of xi minus x bar, the sum of xi take away x bar, this is going to be approximately 0. In this case, it is 0. So if we take -2, right, -2, take away 1, plus, we're adding on this because that's the sum symbol, 0 plus 1 plus 2 equals, it gives you 0. This column, because of the easy numbers, is easily 0. This column really is, it's looking at the differences in distance or the differences in values from the mean. Every data point from the mean. It's because, remember, the average is what they call a typical value, but it's also a balance point. There are numbers above the mean and below the mean, and those distances, when you find them, will sum up to 0, always. But because of these, like how many numbers should I write out, this sum will be very close to 0. The closer the sum to 0, the more accurate your standard deviation or your sample standard deviation answer will be, okay? So if this answer, this column here, let's say you got 0.13, that's good. That's like 13 cents off or something. I know this has nothing to do with money, but you can think of it that way. If this column, if you had an answer of 10.3 or 1.4 or something, that's way off. That means you rounded too much, okay? And again, the closer we are to 0, the more accurate we will be with our answer. All right. Now, the sum of parentheses xi take away x bar squared. What is that? Well, that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And of course, you can use your calculator for that. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to use this formula to get the answer. Sx equals, right? The sum of xi take away x bar quantity squared is 10, okay? Divided by n. Well, how many data values do you have? 5, right? It also told us in the calculator. Take away 1, which is the formula. It's a correction factor. That's another story. Okay, this is equal to 10 divided by 5 take away 1. That's going to be what? 4, right? And then take the square root. So 10 divided by 4. Okay, 4. Oh, that's too many. 10 divided by 4. Okay, there we go. That's going to be equal to 2.5. Don't forget to take the square root of that. All right, so we're going to take the square root of the answer. We're going to close it. And then that gives us 1.581138. Wow. That's awesome, isn't it? It's exactly what the calculator told us. Again, the differences will change. This answer will change based on how accurate the numbers are in this column here. But because these numbers are pretty simple and straightforward, the answers are coming out really nice, aren't they? Okay. So, what's next? Well, that's the answer, doing it by hand. Sometimes teachers want the variance. What's the variance? It's before you take the square root. So you can take this answer and square it. It gives you 2.5. That's the variance. Variance is some other word that you might encounter. It's really the square of the standard deviation. It might be useful for you. Okay, that's a lot of steps, isn't it? And why bother going through this if you can just use your calculator to find the answer? Well, depending on the class that you're in, of course. One thing I want you to know is that if you do need to do this by hand, your calculator is not a crutch. Your calculator is there to help you check for your understanding and to help you lower your anxiety level, which often happens. And that's pretty normal, okay? There's a lot of steps to learn. And it's something that, you know, with practice, you'll get better. So go back on the video, rewind, you know, take a look at it, go by it step by step. That's why this whole thing is step by step for you to learn. I hope you like this content. Please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe. Please tell your friends. And I hope you have a great day. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.